Take 3.
All about Epic.
I said before a couple of years ago, as you know, Universal was building up Epic, that getting from wherever you are onto the first ride was going to be the key thing that they needed to minimize, right? Like, so they needed to get rid of all of the hassle that comes with getting from your house or from your hotel into the park and onto your first ride. And they seem to have done a really, really good job with that. For me, coming south from Celebration, I don't have to get on I-4 to get to the park, which is amazing. I know. Fantastic. Getting into the park is super easy. It's basically a straight shot once you're in the parking lot, like a giant walkway directing you into the middle of the park.
Can you compare it to a Disney parking experience?
The Disney parking experience.
Like Epcot?
It's a lot like Epcot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's relatively easy to get into and out of. You know, the same sort of like signage with each parking lot area has a different name and a different color and a different road number.
Okay.
If you've done that before, you're fine. But going in, Celestial Park is the first place that you're into. It sort of functions as the central hub of the park. It's vaguely Jules Verne themed, so like, you know, 1800s concepts of what space would be like. It's got Constellation Carousel is in the middle. It's the children's carousel. It's very lovely, very pretty. I use two things to sort of orient myself. The Helios Hotel is all the way in the back. So basically at the 12 o'clock position. So that's the easiest thing to sort of use to figure out where you're at. But there, when you walk into the park, if you think of the park as a clock face, Super Nintendo World is going to be sort of at your 7 o'clock. Isle of Berk, the How to Train Your Dragon Land, is sort of at your 5 o'clock. Celestial Park obviously is the dial itself. Monsters Unchained or Dark Universe is going to be at the 10 o'clock position, and Ministry of Magic is going to be at the 2 o'clock position. So those are your 4 big areas right there. First place we went into was Dark Universe, because that was the thing I was most excited about. This is the Transylvania themed thing. I thought it was great. You go through a portal to get there, and there's it's one of these dome-shaped things, sort of like this, but imagine in an arch. And as you're going through it, you're seeing lightning bolts on the side. It's really well done. And there are lightning bolts at night on the different buildings too. But the thing that I loved is 2 things. One, they have fog effects as you're coming in. So you're coming in through like a foggy marsh or whatever. And the theming and the place setting was really, really good there. Also, as you're walking through the land and adjacent to the castle, you can hear screams coming from the castle, but just softly, so you're like, did I hear that or not? I'm not sure. And as you get closer, the screams get louder, which is kind of great. Monsters Unchained is going to be one of the big rides for the park. It's going to be one of its super headliners, along with Ministry of Magic. Wasn't operating the day that I was there, but I did get a run through from some folks who were working on the ride, who said it was the best work they've professionally ever done. So I'm super excited about that. We did go on Curse of the Werewolf, which is sort of like a small, spinny roller coaster. It's fine for what it is. I think it's there to kind of like add additional capacity to the land. So I think every land has at least one very big ride, and then a smaller thing to sort of suck up the capacity. In the case of Dark Universe, it's Curse of the Werewolf. It's fine. It lasted for me, I think, a 1.5 or 2 minute ride. I would wait maybe 30 minutes for it. It's hard to like draw an analogy. The closest one I could come up with is sort of Primeval Whirl in the old Animal Kingdom, which was fine. It's nothing that you're going to go on first or second, but it's there for capacity. The rest of the theming in the land is gorgeous. Das Steakhouse is just super fun to be in. The food is super interesting looking. The theming as well is good there. So the people who are letting you into the restaurants are all in character as well. We went into the Burning Blade Tavern, which is where the monster hunters go. So if you walk in, imagine a very small bar where the things hung up on the wall are monsters, right? That they've captured and killed. So that's really good. And there's character actors in there. The bartenders are all in character and stuff. And the last few questions. That was great. There's also entertainment throughout the land. There's the Invisible Man, which when they told me that the Invisible Man was doing character greetings, I thought, like, that is the funniest gag I've ever heard. And it works out really, really well. There's also a character named Igor, who's, Igor in the Frankenstein films. And he's sort of like the comedic talent of the land, so he'll make funny comments about people walking in and out and asking questions and stuff. That's really, really well done. I really like the whole vibe of the land a lot. From there, I went to Ministry of Magic, which is the Harry Potter thing. It's set up like Paris. It is massive. It is way bigger than Diagon Alley. More open, more spacious, taller, way incredibly more detail. Like Diagon Alley, there are hidden places to go throughout it. I tried a couple of things there. We went to Moonshine Bar, which is lovely. We went into all the stores that were open. The bathrooms are all also Harry Potter themed too, and there's conversations going on in the bathrooms and stuff. And then we got to see the Ministry of Magic queue. The ride itself isn't running yet. At least it's not running reliably. But the queue is amazing. You go through the flue system to get there. So it's like a small archway. And the theatrical nature of how they get you into it is really well done. So you walk through a vent that is pretend steam, and there's colored glass. And then sort of like an S shape through the flue. So you can't see what's on the other side until you're almost in the other side. So you walk through it, and there's another steam grate that you go through. And then you're in this giant 4-story tall, all glossy black tile Ministry of Magic. And it's amazing to look at. One of the things I told the people when I was there was, my only regret so far today is that I'll never be able to see this again for the first time.
Wow.
Like, it was that amazing. They say that the queue inside holds enough people for 4 hours of line, and I believe it. It's just massive. But I won't give away all the queue details. There are definitely some parts of it that you have to see. They have the same talking portrait thing as they do in Hogsmeade and stuff like that. But it's a really well done queue. Really, really, really well done. I'm excited for the ride. From there, we went to Isle of Berk, which is the How to Train Your Dragon land. They have walk-around Vikings that are basically like, imagine the sassiness of the stepsisters in Cinderella.
Nice.
But with Vikings. So wearing boots and fur.
Nice.
That was super fun. We did all of the attractions there. So Viking Boot Camp. We did the roller coaster, which is basically a faster, longer version of Slinky Dog. Really well done. I don't know that it's going to be appropriate for very small kids, but any kid that can handle like Big Thunder, should be fun.
Okay.
We went on the Hiccups Wing Gliders, the one that's basically like a small spinner ride. But the interesting thing here is you get to move your wings using levers, and as you move the wings, your ride vehicle turns like this. So you could be like, if you're moving them, you can actually turn all the way like this, all the way like this. And if you keep moving your wings, you can just keep going like this. And also as you're doing this, you're going up and down like this. So at one point, you could be spinning like this and facing down.
Oh my!
No,
and
you
that's
cannot.
where it's the one place where I was actually pushed up against the seat restraint. It's the shoulder harness, where I was like, the shoulder harness is the thing that's keeping me from going splat.
What'd you do after that?
Then we did
Pass
the
out?
roller coaster. No, it was fun. It only lasts 90 seconds. It's a very very low capacity, very slow loading ride.
But you can't do Guardians more than once.
Oops.
And so, how did you feel after this
I
one
felt fine.
compared?
I felt fine in all the rides.
Okay. Tell us about the one the off track.
Okay, so this is the fourth land that we went to was Super Nintendo World, which I'd been to at Universal Studios Hollywood. And so the Mario Kart Bowser's Revenge ride is basically a clone of that in Universal Studios Hollywood. I've done that before. The cool thing there is you put on augmented reality glasses. So you can still see through it, but there's stuff being projected onto the glasses in front of you.
That's so cool.
And you got a little game controller where you can push buttons to throw shells and stuff like that. But the interesting thing here is that the helmet is tracking your eyes. So it will throw the shells wherever you're looking. So you have to be constantly looking like this.
So does that mean I don't need hand-eye coordination? My eyes do it?
Coordination.
I might have a shot.
Yeah, just keep pushing the button down. Yeah.
I might have a shot. Okay.
And so I actually did well on this. The goal was to collect 100 coins. I did, which I didn't do the first time I rode. But super fun ride. And it's actually fairly long. It's like 3 or 4 minutes long.
Ooh.
Oh. There's also a really detailed queue with a lot of gags in it if you're into the Mario Kart stuff. That queue has got to be at least 2 hours long as well. That's going to be one of the big headliner rides in the park. The other thing there was Yoshi's Adventure, which is basically, imagine a Nintendo-themed TTA, Tomorrowland Transit Authority. Great for kids, very slow moving. it's still a 5.5 minute ride, even though it doesn't look like it. It just moves that. It moves like this.
The theming looks adorable, though.
And what color Yoshi did you ride?
Mine was bubblegum pink.
Nice.
And you have to find 3 eggs: a green, a red, and a blue. And then you push buttons to say that you found them.
Fresh.
And I did. I was able to find all 3 eggs.
Amazing.
In one ride. It kind of helps that it's like, oh look, a blue egg. The egg is right there.
Oh my gosh. You're not the target market here.
I am not the target market.
That's all right.
Then the third ride was Donkey Kong ride. This one I thought was going to be the most fun.
This looks so
but also
cool.
the most problematic. So the Donkey Kong ride looks like you're jumping over a broken track.
Yeah.
And the way that they do it is a ride system like this. It's called a boom. You think that this is the... Oops. So you think that this is the ride track that you're on, but actually you're on a smaller ride track here. So what this allows you to do is to pretend that this track is broken while still having a continuous track here. So it looks like when you're on the ride vehicle, it looks like if the ride track isn't here, it looks like you're jumping.
It really does,
this
though.
Part is, oops, I keep breaking this.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Ride.
This is why I'm not in ride design and analytics. But
at least from the Instagram videos, it really looks...
Yeah.
You said it did like from the ride, too. It's fine. It's fine. Go on. Tell us. Go on. Tell us. I got it.
It looks like you're jumping like this, but you're not. Anyway, so the thing that I really liked about it was they maintain that illusion while you're on the ride, too. So they didn't do it just for the bystanders to get you on the ride. Once you're on the ride, it looks like the track is broken, too, and you're jumping.
Gotcha.
The one thing that I would like to see is you should have some sort of like thump or vibration when you land. It's not there. But other than that, the ride was great. We waited 40 minutes for that. I don't know that I would wait 40 minutes for it again, but I would wait 30.
And you think the capacity is like what other?
The other issue there is the capacity seems really, really low. The timing that we did of ride vehicles and counting the people who were exiting, we think it's somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 people an hour, which is not even Dumbo. Like Dumbo in the Magic Kingdom is around 1,440 an hour. So that's going to be an issue there because it looks great. Has a lot of positive vibes, like a lot of big energy, but it's a very low capacity ride. That would be my big concern for that. But also, I mean, it's got, if you consider that and Mario Kart, that land has 2 great rides in and of itself. Oh, the other thing we saw, by the way, going back to Harry Potter, Circus Arcanum is their circus. Last year, I got to see some of the effects done on a soundstage. And I won't say where or with whom.
That was my next question.
And I was like, and seeing the effects done on a soundstage, I still couldn't figure out how they were being done.
Oh wow!
And to see it in person live was amazing. There's a scene with a broom in Act 2 that ended up being the thing that I saw.
No spoilers.
And it was, to see it live was amazing.
Is it like Cirque du Soleil? Like what are people, or like nothing they're going to be able to figure out?
There's no comparable Disney show in terms of special effects, story, and music.
Okay.
It's really unique. It's almost like I think Nightmare Fuel at Halloween Horror Nights is the best stage show in Orlando. And this is that level of quality. In fact, I think one of the aerialists from Nightmare Fuel is actually one of the aerialists in Circus Arcanum.
Okay.
The issue with that, again, like the big questions in the park are going to be ride reliability and ride capacity. Supposedly, they want to get to the point where they're doing 24 to 28 shows of circus a day, and I think they're like at 16 to 20. Our show was interrupted multiple times for technical difficulties. They've got to figure all that out. But again, if you're trying something new, that's going to happen. They've still got another month and change before opening. They'll get it figured out. But really, ride reliability and ride capacity for the parks would be the 2 big things. Also went on Stardust Racers, which is the super fast roller coaster in the middle of the park. It's excellent. I would say it's a lot like Velocicoaster. If you really like fast outdoor coasters with lap restraints instead of shoulder restraints, this is that. The ride length is like 2.5 minutes. Very fast, very fun, a lot of airtime. If you like coasters, you'll like this quite a bit. The one thing is, this is a dueling coaster, which helps increase capacity, but they're serious. So there's lockers, before you go in to this ride. And I had actually, after you put your stuff in the locker, you still go through a metal detector.
Like on the Hulk.
Like on the Hulk, to make sure that you've put everything in the locker. And to tell you how sensitive the metal detectors are, I had a single piece of Trident gum in a piece of foil in my pocket, and the metal detector found the foil. And I had to make sure that that single piece of Trident gum was in a pocket with a button on it so that it wouldn't get loose. That's how serious they are.
That's good.
Safety's
That's
important.
good. Safety's
important.
Yeah.
Safety first. Other thing I'll mention, to the things, the food is excellent everywhere we went. We ate at Meat Hall in Isle of Berk, and it was delightful. It's basically a platter of meat and potatoes. You can't go wrong with that.
What kind of meat? What did you have?
So we had, I think there were turkey legs, we had sausage. Salmon was very good.
Is
Nice.
it like the platter, the butcher board at Polite Pig, or
No, it's this big around. It's like the size of a satellite dish, piled with meat and potatoes. I don't know
Wow.
how you go wrong from that. Barbecue sauces were excellent. Service was great. Prices, I'm figuring on $25 a person for that kind of meal, and that's about what it's going to be. Order through the app.
Okay.
Everything was super fast. Everything was super fresh. Everything was tasty.
is it mobile order, or you
It was
you
all
order
mobile
at
order.
the table?
From the table. Was
So like 3 broomsticks.
Right, okay.
Like three,
And the same
three
thing, we
broomsticks.
also went to
code,
ate
okay.
at Cafe de la Sirène in Harry Potter. And so I've been watching Julia Child's cooking shows starting at the beginning. So I had to order the crepes. By the way, did you know that if you're making any sort of battered thing, you're supposed to let the batter rest like 1 or 2 hours?
I did not.
For pancakes and for waffles and stuff like that, crepes. Yeah, it allows the flour in the batter to absorb the moisture. So you end up with fluffier, lighter, crispier things. Anyway,
Did you have crepes there?
I did. I had the butterbeer crepe. which
Do you
was-
like butterbeer?
I do not like butterbeer, but this was just the right amount of sweet.
Okay,
On the
okay.
crepes. The crepes were a little bit thicker than I think Julia Child's makes, but they weren't pancakes.
Rest in peace.
I know. So here's the funny thing. Like I'm trying to like think of like what am I critiquing at Cafe de la Sirène? So I had a couple of things. I tried the cassoulet because cassoulet it's a great winter thing. It's basically a duck stew.
Yeah.
Right. This one was vegan, but it's a white bean stew. And it was incredible, just really, really well done. You could tell like it had been cooking for hours. The white beans were perfectly done, very flavorful. I didn't even know it was like if you didn't tell me it was vegan, I wouldn't have believed it. And I had that. Tried the butterbeer crepes. I tried the steak à pois, which is it's hamburger steak with a pepper corn sauce, a side salad that was delightful. And I'm trying to think of like what am I going to critique here? And the thing I could come up with was like, maybe the knife work on the onions wasn't as good as I would have expected from like a.
But it was technical rehearsals. They weren't ready yet.
Well, the knife work's not going to get its own Michelin star. But look, that was my
chef
critique of it. Like, okay, the onions could have been sliced a little bit finer. That was my criticism. Like, okay, it was great. No, but it was all really, really good. Food was delightful. Service was excellent. But the other thing I loved was the theming inside Cafe de la Sirène. It looks like a Parisian restaurant. 2 stories tall, lots of open space, lots of natural light. I mean, just everything looks good. Even the restaurants that weren't open. Oaken Star Tavern, is that what it's called? Went in there, looked pretty. Like even the places that we went into that weren't open, everything looked amazing. Pizza Moon is delightful. It all looked really good.
Is the more sit-down restaurant the Atlantis?
Atlantic wasn't open
Okay.
when we were there, and neither was the Blue Dragon.
But you're
Okay.
going to be back the first 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm
open,
sure we'll
right?
get previews
Yeah.
between
Right.
1 and 2, and
Great.
then I've got tickets for each of the 4 days.
Great.
Yeah, but so far everything looks great. Getting to and from it, super easy. That was one of my big concerns. Food is way better than I think any other theme park.
That's so good to hear.
Portals are very cool, but are they going to cause, like, I've seen lines of people waiting for the escalator at Nintendo World?
Yeah, so the portals are interesting. They're very Instagrammable. They're very social media
So you
friendly.
think that's what it is?
When I talk to
Everybody's-
people from Universal Creative and they're like, look, this looks great on camera. We're never going to do this again in the park because of the problems getting people in and out. So
Okay.
expect a little bit of a delay. The good news is when you're coming out, there are exit portals on either side of the main portal, and that's super trivial
Okay.
to get out. So you don't have
Okay.
to do the same thing in reverse to get out. Getting out is way easy.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so overall, I like the part of it. They've got another month and a half until it opens, and they're going to need every bit of that to work on, ride reliability. And they were installing shade a couple weeks ago when I was
That's
in
great.
Celestial Park and stuff. Yeah, there could be bumps and stuff along the way, but super positive earlier review. The big thing for me is going to be ride reliability, ride capacity. If I was Universal, they have room for expansion pads for 3 more rides. I would get building those rides right now, just based on the feedback that we've got. Like, it would be, I think this is probably my second or third favorite park in Orlando right now. If they
Wow.
added 3 more headliner rides, it would be like that in the Magic Kingdom. There's an expansion pad already in Super Nintendo World. I think there's one over by Ministry of Magic. The long-term plans, I mean, they could take some parking lot areas. There's a lot they could do. But, I mean, I know they've got plans for 3 more rides. If I were them, I would just start building it now, because those new 3 rides would be open by the time Disney starts opening their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be, good timing. But overall, super positive. Looks really, really good.
It looks gorgeous on Instagram.
Yeah, looks gorgeous. I'm staying at the new hotel when it opens. I got to go back to the other 2 hotels, Terra Luna, Stella Nova. Got to go back and try those again. So yeah, but overall, it looks really, really good. Super excited to be there. So come on down this summer and let's take a look.
And when will the app be updated for Epic?
So we're working on. The great thing was I was working on the map and the walking times the 2 weeks before I went to Epic. So it was still relatively fresh where I knew the map in my head. And the map we had was great. Like, I didn't have to refer to a map while I was there. The only thing we need to add to the maps right now are the locations of the bathrooms, which I wrote down. But I think by the end of the month, we'll start having touring plans and everything ready for Waytime Marvels. We still don't know how Epic is going to open. Like, I guarantee you it's not going to open at 100% capacity.
Right.
They're going to limit the number of people coming into the park. Guarantee that.
So we'll adjust it.
The big question is like, when do they let everyone in? And what does that look like? How many people is that? I'm guessing somewhere between 25 and 37,000 people on a given day. I don't think it can handle much more than that.
What Disney park is that capacity?
It's-
like 25,000, 30,000.
It's lower than any Disney park. The thing that I'm sort of drawing an analogy to right now is at the end of the year, Animal Kingdom's going to have between 10 and 12 things, depending on how you count things, right? And that's going to be about the same as Epic Universe when Epic Universe opens. So it's going to be roughly like Animal Kingdom with all of Dinoland closed.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys for talking. Bye.